You do multiple markets, large markets, small markets, and they're not close to each other. You're always from Pennsylvania to Kansas to Tennessee to, every place on the planet here. How are you overseeing projects from so far away?
A lot of it's systems. So who do you have, what boots on the ground? Because you're going to have somebody in the neighborhood, boots on the ground. Whether, if you don't know anybody, you can hire an inspector. An inspector's job is to go out there, a home inspector, to go out there and review work. So if you're in a different market somewhere where I can't go to physically check to make sure they've got the work done, hire it out. You do things in shifts. You can set it up to where X, Y, and Z needs done. And now I'm going to send my inspector. He's going to take pictures because that's his job. He's going to notate anything that he feels was done improperly because that's his job. And he's going to send the full report back to me. And I have it set up so that now I don't have to pay you till my inspector improves or approves that everything is done. So there still has to be oversight. There still has to be boots on the ground. It's just putting in a system in place. And once you know your prices might not be the same, but this is how we roll through a house, you can apply it because the houses are the same. It's just the kind of work or who's doing it, and you go from there.
And it seems like a good way to insulate yourself, too, to be the good guy, bad guy. Like, hey, I'd write you a check as long as they say your work's good. It's not you saying it's bad, it's them saying it's bad.
And we also have other fellow investors that are in those areas that we rely on. So they know my marketing may not be as strong as what their marketing is. So if they're going to do some marketing in my area, let's team up together. And if I get a lead, they're going to go look at it for me. And if we decide to joint venture on that project, great. So they can kind of be the workhorse. I may have the funding. So that kind of, we can determine how we want to build that partnership if we choose to do that.
When you're investing around the country in large markets and smaller markets, it does change greatly. How do you feel that you handle the change going to a massive market when it's 500 miles away? And I'm pretty sure you don't have the code enforcement's cell phone number that you're texting them.
Well, in those other areas, you have to know those rules and regulations where it seems like you can't even put a toilet in without having a permit. So that's where it pays to have somebody who is local down there that knows all the rules and the regulations that can oversee that type of stuff. Because the last thing you want to do is close in walls, frame everything, close in walls, and all of a sudden you realize you had to have your plumbing inspected beforehand. So you need to know those things to save a lot of money and headaches.
Yeah, and a home inspector is going to know, well, your box isn't inspected. Well, how did you close up the walls, and how are you selling this house with no sticker on your box? Well, that's the person that went back and double checked all the work the contractor did. There was no permit. Sorry, John. You didn't pull permits before. If we get busted for this, that's not right. You have to go back and get re-permitted. And it is built into our contracts. All permits must be pulled. All proof should be shown. And then that way it's the contractor's responsibility instead of mine going down to the courthouse or flying out to Kansas City to be like, hey, I need to pull permits today. We put it on the guy that's doing the work that should know the code. If you're an electrician, you should know the electrical code, or a plumber. And leave it as their responsibility as opposed to making it mine.